A 450,000 subscriber YouTuber is involved in a police investigation now. His name is AirSoftFatty. I'm sure you remember him from some videos I did a long time ago and from iDubbbz's Full Force documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's really good. I watched it last night. The detectives involved claim that this is a very serious issue already, but it could turn nuclear really fast. Here's a catch-up of what's going on up to now. AirSoftFatty blew up when iDubbbz did a documentary on him called Full Force. The documentary features Fatty and his friend Robert and their 20-year friendship ending when, during a Star Wars lightsaber cosplay duel, Robert hit Fatty full force way too often with a lightsaber, leading to a lot of cringe, and you know that we love cringe. Anyway, after the doc, Fatty's mother passed away, which was honestly really sad if you saw it. But Fatty was approached by many people, wanting to grab some of the clout left over after iDubbbz did his documentary. One quick note. One thing about Fatty and his friends, most of them are autistic.
Aaron and him are autistic.
Or have another mental and sometimes physical disability. One of the people that approached Fatty was one of his friends named Josh. Going forward, we will call him the supervisor. This friend talked Fatty into allowing him to supervise or manage Fatty's YouTube channel. But through his Twitch streams, YouTube live streams, uploaded videos, and leaked recordings.
That's it?
That's it.
They got no video of me saying what I said? I need to know whether or not this person clipped a video of me saying the words sand hard R.
Apparently it says the Josh confirmed racist said hard N-word. That's what it says.
Where?
The video.
No, that's what they said in the
That's what they said in the Discord.
Is it words or was it a video of it?
It's the words or the video?
No, stop right now. Listen, this is how this is gonna work.
I'm just being a messenger, man. Don't blame me.
I'm confused.
I'm so confused too.
The internet has witnessed AirSoftFatty go broke really fast, while his manager started driving around BMWs, and he brags about modifying these cars with thousands of dollars of work. Doesn't make sense, does it? In fact, as we speak, Fatty couldn't even get a ride while Josh is recording himself speeding down the highway in his new BMW, and it is very expensive. It's strange because the supervisor of a channel has more money and toys than even the person that the whole brand is based on. How did we get to the investigation, though? Remember Robert? I mentioned him earlier. He's the other guy from the Full Force documentary. Robert was approached by the supervisor many times, and eventually he agreed to allow the supervisor to supervise his channel. Or the supervisor treated Robert as if he was dumb. But in fact, Robert is smarter than anyone has given him credit for, because Robert recorded and screenshotted proof that the supervisor talked him into giving him his passwords, but then changed Robert's YouTube bank account to his own without permission, which was not part of the deal according to Robert. This is where it gets really interesting. Robert scheduled a meeting with the detective, and eventually one of his best friends went with him to the meeting where Robert handed over all the evidence. So much evidence, in fact, I have seen some of it myself. I would show you one of the documents, but it's Robert's AdSense account, and I don't feel comfortable. The detective, though, started an investigation and now is looking into claims or allegations of fraud and even possibly abuse of a couple different people with mental disabilities. One really juicy bit of information from Robert is that the detective even offered to go with them to Adult Protective Services. They want to know if AirSoftFatty was in the mental state to be managed or supervised the way he has, and if any of the fighting, intimidation tactics, supervisor constantly would change AirSoftFatty's passwords whenever they would get into an argument, if any of that maybe is a form of blackmail or abuse, or if it's all legal. They just want to know. You'll remember back when I covered this story, we had proof of many times the supervisor was fired by Fatty during arguments, and then Fatty's YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter accounts would mysteriously all have their account passwords changed, with the only two people having the password being AirSoftFatty and the supervisor himself. In a newly released live stream, Airsoft finds out that the supervisor changed his passwords again.
He changed the password again. He changed my password again.
Ooh. Chris, did you ever
I don't care. He just changed all my fucking passwords on me. Again. No. He was already told by law enforcement, and he was told by people to stop.
And this is only a month ago. And Fatty admitted that the police had told the supervisor multiple times that he couldn't change Fatty's passwords. That's pretty interesting, right? If you remember my previous videos, well, Robert has agreed to do an interview with me, and I'm going to ask him about the situation. And of course, talk to him about his time in the documentary, some of the other things he talked about. Remember the part of the documentary where Robert talks about demons talking to him, or him being able to speak like a demon, but no human being can understand it, or something like that. I find that really, really interesting. I want to know what he has to say about it. But the main point is that with all of this happening, finally Airsoft's audience might get the thing they've wanted for over a year. An answer to the question if Supervisor is stealing from AirSoftFatty or breaking the law in the way that he handles his money. And in the end, maybe there'll be a resolution to an insane story behind iDubbbz's Full Force documentary. But now, there is one other development that I want to talk to you about. It turns out Supervisor has been bragging that he's talked to several other creators to let him manage their channels in the way he's tried to do with AirSoftFatty and Robert. One being named Gucci Berry. Supervisor let it slip that he'd talked Barry into splitting Gucci Berry's revenue 40% with Supervisor. And if you take a look at fair market value, 40% is way, way, way over what you should be taking from a creator. Just saying. That's just a point I'm going to make. So Gucci Berry is known for specializing in getting hit between the legs every Sunday with a special upload. It's like a show of his or something. It's actually really funny. Speaking of which, I was checking in on Fatty's channel, and I noticed that Fatty, Gucci Berry, and Supervisor all did a collaboration together. This was after I watched the 52-minute video. This is important. The thing I noticed is in that video, for almost an hour, Gucci never really got permanently injured or had some type of wound or anything like that. He would just get kicked in the nuts or have a watermelon dropped on his nuts, or a turkey would let go. They'd let go of a turkey tied to a rope and it'd smack him in the nut, whatever. But he never had any wounds. He was never hurt. But when I watched AirSoftFatty's collab with Gucci Berry, it's crazy. I'll try to splice in some clips of it, or at least screenshots, because Barry has wounds left all over him after doing the stunt. I thought to myself after seeing this, like, gee, I wonder, did Supervisor get so desperate for views and attention on Fatty's channel that he upped the danger level of Gucci Berry's stunt to try and get clicks and views and shares? Because Fatty hasn't been doing that well since Supervisor took over. Maybe not. It's just one of my thoughts. So that's all for now. I will upload the interview with Robert here on UNIRocktv, so turn on the bell with all notifications. Leave me a comment and let me know. Do you think that the Supervisor is in the wrong? Because I know a lot of people do. Or do you think that Robert is in the right for starting an investigation? Let me know in the comments below. I'm out.
I ain't no fool. I ain't no fool. So what you getting
Well, this is one of Robert's new videos. You can see playing next to me, and you can see someone's filming for him, and we already know it's not Chris because Chris doesn't film his videos. Who is it? It's Chris's manager, Josh. You don't believe me? Here's a picture of Josh and Robert eating ice cream together. And there was a comment from Freddy saying, glad to have you back. He's glad to have him back. Josh has swept another individual under his wingspan.